Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to create an iOS plugin to embed a web view inside your Godot game or app. So like WebView is mostly used to display a web page or a web app. Now let's get started. I don't want to waste any more time. So here I have created one ignore this work folder. This was just part of my practice. So what I will do is that I will just go to a workspace folder. So for me this my trial folder is kind of like a workspace folder. You can create this anywhere inside your PC or laptop. So I will just create a folder called my workspace. Okay, use whatever makes sense to you. This is not really important. Next, for creating an iOS plugin, obviously you would require macOS and you would need to install Xcode from Apple App Store. I have already done that. And you also need to install Python. Most probably Python would be present inside your macOS. If not, then install it from the official website. And we require sconce as well to generate the iOS headers from Godot game engine. So to install this, you would first have to install Homebrew. Most probably many of you might have Homebrew inside your macOS. Then you just have to run this command brew install sconce inside your terminal and it will install sconce for you. Then here, as you can see, we have created a folder called my workspace. You can name it whatever you feel like. Now just follow what I am doing, even the folder names, just so that there is no confusion. We'll have to create a folder called plugin. So inside my workspace I will create a folder called plugin. Alright, then at the time of me recording this video I am using Godot 4.2.2, but I think by the time you watch it, maybe Godot 4.3 or 4.4 might be available. So depending on that, you will have to run this particular command. But change the version to whatever Godot version you are using. I am using Godot 4.2.2, that's why I am using 4.2 over here. So just cd to your plugin folder which we have created and run this command. I already have the Godot folder cloned in my previous practice project, so I'll just copy it inside my plugin folder because the cloning part takes a lot of time and I don't want to waste my time. So this will happen once the clone is successful. Again you will have to open your terminal and you will have to cd to the newly created Godot folder, clone Godot folder which you have, and then you will have to run this particular command. Now do note that this is for debug. You will have to change it for release if you are trying to do it for the release mode. So currently I'm just the Godot folder which I have copied already. In that folder I had already ran this command. Now this command takes a lot of time to run, that's why I'm not running it again, because I already have run this particular command and it has generated the appropriate files for me. So once that is done, be patient. This might take even hours for you. So yeah, be patient. Once that is done, come back. The next step is open Xcode, click on create new project, and here inside iOS select static library, click next. Here you can give your library some name. I will give it as open web. Again, the reason why I'm not giving it as a web view, because I don't want it to collide with same naming if it is present inside the iOS platform. But you can choose whatever name makes sense to you. I couldn't find any better name for this, so that's why I'm just calling it as open web. I'll click on next, and here you will have to go to your plugin folder. So I'll go to samples. So wherever is your plugin folder located, so it is in my workspace plugin, and I'll click on create. Okay, so once this is created, it creates few files for us like this header and Objective-C file. Alright, the next thing which you have to do is which I forget many a times is you have to go to your project, go to build settings. Was it build settings? I think this is looking completely different to me. Resource tags, all. Okay, this one. Yeah, this one. Select this I think the UI has changed a little bit for Xcode, I guess. And here you can select the deployment target. I will just keep it as 16, but if you want to select any lower version depending on what is the minimum version your app or game is running on, you can select this. So I am just keeping it as 16. Then okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to my plugin arithmetic. So I'm just opening few of my files which I had already created because I want to copy paste some code. Like writing this code by hand is very difficult for me, so I have to first create a module header file. So whatever is your static library name, just use that particular name. So I'll just create and select an header file. So I'll just name it as openweb underscore module. Okay, and I'll click on create, and same I'll have to create an Objective-C file as well. So I'll just select Objective-C file, next open web module, I'll click on create. Okay, then I'll just copy paste this code inside our module header file. So as you can see over here, I'll copy paste this code. Now here we will have to replace arithmetic with open web because that static library was named arithmetic. Now we don't really have to understand this is boilerplate code. Every single time we have to create an iOS plugin, we have to write this boilerplate code. So even I really don't understand all this code. I'm just copy pasting it. Then we have to copy this arithmetic module.mm file. So here you can see it is a .mm file. So we'll have to change the extension from Objective-C to Objective-C++. So .mm. Okay, and again I'll copy paste this code. Again we'll have to replace arithmetic. I'll have to replace arithmetic with open web. Here O should be capital, so I'll make it O capital. Okay, and here it is open web. Here it is open web. Okay, here as well. Here and here as well, over here. Then I'll just copy this, paste it over here and paste it over here. Okay, so this is done. Ignore all these errors like Xcode is not playing nicely with Godot, that's why this is all this stuff. Then again now we'll have to go to our this header file and I'll copy paste some code. I'll try to explain it whatever I have understood, but most of it is boilerplate code. So firstly again we'll have to replace this arithmetic with open web because that is my static library name. Make sure this is all capital and I'll copy it over here as well. Okay, then I'm importing UIKit, which is kind of like all these view controllers are part of UIKit, which is kind of like a base library in iOS. Now here this second view controller which I will create shortly, but basically we will be referencing this file inside our Objective-C++ implementation. So in this particular file, that's why we have to import the header file for second view controller. In case if you decide to name that file differently, make sure you update this name as well, which I will show you in a bit, don't worry about it. Okay, then I'll just, here we have to write open web. Okay, same over here, and here I have defined one method called open URL which takes a string. We will be passing this string basically like the URL of the web page which you want to open inside your WebView. So we will pass this from Godot. Again this has to be open web, this has to be open web, this has to be open web. Rest everything looks fine to me. Again ignore if you don't understand all this stuff, it's fine. Okay, then I'll go to the actual implementation. As you can see, again we have to convert this Objective-C file to Objective-C++, and I'll just copy paste all this code and I'll paste it over here. Okay, so again this is like foundation, ignore this is again boilerplate code. Here we have to replace arithmetic with open web. Okay, and here as well open web. Okay, and here open web as well. Here it is open web, here open web, Here I'm just logging it to the console once it is initialized. Same over here. Oh, sorry. Copy, paste, paste, paste. Same over here as well. Paste, paste. Same over here. Now currently I'm not using any signal for this particular plugin. So signals are basically, suppose if you want to send some data from this native iOS plugin back to Godot side, you can use that. But here we are just opening a web view which takes in, and we require the URL inside the input parameter of the method. So we don't really need this signal. I'll comment it for now, but in case if you require a signal, you can use something like this. This is the signal name and this is the data type which you can use for that particular signal. Okay, and here you can see again this should be open web, and this is the method which we had defined it inside the header file. That's what I'm using over here. So here you can see we are writing the implementation. So I'll just replace this with open web. So once we get the string, we have to convert it to NS string. That's what Objective-C knows. Then we have to write this bit of code to get hold of the root view controller. So here you can see we get hold of the root view controller. Then here we just initialize the second view controller file. We create an NS URL out of this particular NS string which we have. So as you can see, we create an NS URL. Then we send that NS URL to our second view controller. The modal presentation style is full screen, as I want the web view to occupy the entire screen. And here we are just calling present view controller. So our second view controller will be visible to the user. Now we have to create second view controller. So for that we require an header file as well as an Objective-C file. We don't require Objective-C++ because this is mostly UIKit or iOS specific code. We are not writing any Godot code as such inside this, so we can just create an Objective-C file. So here I have created Objective-C file. So firstly, again I'll copy paste some code. So this is the code for the header file. Okay, so here you can see we are importing UIKit as well as WebKit. So to display WebView, we require WebKit. And here you can see we have created this URL parameter which we were calling from this particular file to send that URL string which we have. Okay, now we'll come back to the Objective-C file. So I'll copy paste this code as well. I'll paste it over here. So here we are importing the header file, and on view did load we are creating a WK web view. And here I am creating a toolbar as well. So the toolbar will display a back button. The reason I have to create a back button manually is typically most user will think that if I swipe it from the left side of a screen, it should go back to the previous screen, right? But the reason this is not working for second view controller is because over here inside open URL method, if you see, the modal presentation style is full screen. If you use something like I think if you don't use this, this won't occupy the full screen. It will present it something like a modal. So in that case you don't require all this toolbar stuff. But given that I wanted to occupy the entire screen width and height, which most people would like to do, that's why that particular gesture won't work for you, and we have to create a UI toolbar with a bar button item. And here as you can see, this is the SF symbol, I guess, which I'm using. I have not included this image, like this is system image which is already present inside iOS. We don't have to worry about it, and that's what this toolbar is. And then I'm just using NS layout constraints to constrain the toolbar at the top and the web view to occupy the entire width and height. And as soon as the toolbars this particular back button is tapped, we are dismissing this particular view controller, so you will go back to the original Godot screen which you have. All right, okay, so that's it. I'll just close other files. So I have shown you this, I have shown you all this stuff. Okay, this as well. Okay, then inside build settings we have to go to header search path. So go to build settings. I will search for header search path. Okay, I think I have to go to this target. So I will just search for headers. Okay, select all, header search path. Okay, now over here what it says is we have to add the path of our Godot engine platform iOS folder. So I will go to our Godot engine, go to platform iOS folder, then right click on any of this file, click on get info, and this should be your path. So I'll just copy this path, I will close down, and here I will just paste this particular path. Click on this plus button, paste the path, enter. Okay, and here you can see the path. So the path has also been added. Then we have to close Xcode. So I'll just right click, quit Xcode, then move the Xcode. Okay, so what I'll have to do is I'll again go back to our open web folder. So I will just open all this. I will copy this, I will move all this one folder ahead. Okay, and I'll delete this open web folder. Then we have this open web.xcode proj file, which I will just add it over here. Okay, and yeah, so it should look something like this. Now even I am not sure why we have to do this, but if you don't do this, the build does not work. That's why I'm just doing it. Okay, so this is done. Then we have to create an .gdip file. So for that, again I will just copy paste the code. So what I'll do is that I will just copy paste this arithmetic.gdip file inside my plugin folder, but I will have to rename it as open web, because that is the name, right? So open web.gdip, I will just open it inside VS Code or whatever editor you are using. Here we'll have to rename everything from arithmetic to open web. Again, this is all boilerplate, don't worry too much about it, this will more or less remain the same. Again, here instead of arithmetic I will just have to use open web. Over here as well, instead of arithmetic I have to use open web. And if you see over here, we have to add these two capabilities. I'm not sure if even if we don't add this, if this will work or not, but just to be on the safer side, I like to add these capabilities. So in capabilities I have added UIKit.framework as well as the WebKit.framework. Okay, so this is done. Then we have to copy an S construct file. Now this file is very large, so I have given one sample file at this particular URL. So if you go to this URL, you can get this sample S construct file. So again I already have this file, which I will just copy paste inside my plugin folder. Now here we will have to again so once you have downloaded this S construct file, just add it to your plugin folder. But here again you will have to make few changes. So just search for arithmetic, and instead of arithmetic we will have to write open web or whatever is your plugin name. Okay, so this is done. Then again I'll search for arithmetic. So here it is, sorry, arithmetic over here, arithmetic open web over here as well as open. So arithmetic is no longer present inside my code, so at least 4 times you will have to do this. Also one more thing, if you remember, we had said set the minimum iOS deployment target to 16 inside Xcode. So whatever version you had used, make sure inside this min iOS simulator version you use the same version. So for me it is already 16, but if it is something different for you, make sure it is 16 over here, or whatever minimum deployment target you have set in Xcode, as well as over here and over here as well. Okay, so this part is also done. So I'll just scroll down. Then we have to create one bin folder. So I'll go to my plugin and I'll create a folder called bin, and then we have to run this particular command. Again, this is release debug, so just check what exactly is the command for release in case if you are releasing it to production. So I'll just quickly change cd my cd plugin, and I'll quickly run this command. So what this command basically do is invalid value inside as construct. Okay, let's see, inside as construct invalid value. maybe my IntelliSense has. Okay, let's just check with the original one. Okay, this seems fine to me. Arithmetic, open web. Let me quickly check my Xcode project as well, in case if I forgot to rename something as open web, maybe that is causing some issue. Let's see, open web. Yeah, looks fine to me. Okay, why is my Xcode not opening? Okay, let me quickly search for arithmetic. Maybe I forgot something over here. Okay, these are just comments, so I think this is fine. What exactly is the issue? Samples, Godot, my trials, line 31. Okay, line 31 is this. Okay, let me quickly figure out the issue and come back. Okay, so the issue was, while running this plugin, this should not be arithmetic, this should be open web. So there was nothing wrong in my code, so I'll just change this as open web, which makes sense, and I'll quickly run this. Now what exactly this will do is, if you see my bin folder, currently it is empty, but here it has created this .a file for us and everything was fine. In case if you get an error, do go back to the video again, maybe you made some mistake. Alright, so this is done. Okay, so I'll just go back to the step. Now we'll have to create one Godot project, so I'll just open Godot. I'll click new project. I'll click on browse, desktop, samples, Godot, my trial, my workspace. Yeah, here I will create, just don't create it inside the plugin folder, I'll create it outside. I'll click on create folder. Sorry, not my workspace, my Godot project. Okay, and I'll name it the same over here as well. Create folder. Okay, so I'll just click create and edit. Now firstly go to project, export, add iOS, click on fix import. Here you will have to add your App Store team ID, which I will tell you shortly, and bundle identifier as well. Bundle identifier is typically your com dot your company name dot your app name or game name, but here I'll just keep things simple, Godot game. Okay, all right. Then what it says is we have to create folder called iOS. I'll close this. I will create a folder called iOS. Okay, then inside that I have to create a folder called plugins with an S. Create folder. Then I have to copy the .gdip file and .a file. So I'll just copy the .a file first inside my Godot project from my plugin folder, iOS plugins. I'll paste it over here. Again I'll go back to plugin, I'll copy the .gdip file, iOS plugins, I'll paste it over here. Now for the .a file you have to change the name to whatever is your library name. For me it is openweb.a. okay, so we are done with this. Rename it to add iOS, and here you can get the App Store team ID. So I will add my App Store team ID later on, but for you should add your App Store team ID. Go to project, export. Here you should add your App Store team ID. All right. Okay, so I'll just close this. I'll create one 2D scene. I'll create project settings. If you don't add your App Store team ID, you won't be able to export your project, so be careful. 420, and here I will just name it 1200. okay, and orientation I'm just keeping it as portrait, but you choose whatever you feel like. Then here I will just add one button to open the web view. I will just okay, I will Control S, save, and I will just give it as open web. Okay, and I'll just increase the font size 30. I'll just save it. Then I will attach one script to this. Click create. Now what I'll do is I will again go back to my previous code, and I'll just copy paste some code from that. Node underscore 2.gd. Okay, so I'll just copy paste this code and paste it inside my script. So here, instead of arithmetic, again we require open web. All right, so here we okay, and here as well, and here the file just change it to capital O. So here we are initializing our plugin. Also, one more thing which I forgot, go to export. Before I forget, inside plugins you should see this open web. Check that particular checkbox, otherwise this won't work for us. And inside open web, if you remember, the method name was open URL, and here you can pass whatever URL you feel like. And we also have to attach the press signal for our button. Okay, so here you can see it has automatically picked up for me, because yeah, this is the default name which we get. Ignore all this stuff. Okay, so this is the code. In case if you have a signal, you also have to write this bit of code, replace this with your signal name, and then you can write a method, and here you will get the result and do whatever you feel like with the result. I'll just quickly save. I will run the app so that my current scene is selected. Okay, so current scene is selected. Okay, again, so now what you will have to do is go to project, export, and I will add my App Store team ID quickly. Okay, so I have added my App Store team ID, but before I click on export, I have just created one empty folder called My Awesome iOS. Name it whatever you feel like. So here I will export my project, because that would be lot of file once we click on export, and this export project might take a little bit of time, like 2 to 3 minutes, so just be patient. I'll just click on export. I'll go back to my project, My Awesome iOS, click on save. Okay, so my export was successful. Then all you have to do is you will have to go to your folder and double click on this Xcode proj. It will open it inside Xcode. Then just select this, go to sign in and capabilities, and make sure you are using the same team for which you have added the App Store team ID. In case if you don't have a team, make sure you add this particular team. And even after adding this particular team, if you are getting any error like something like this, make sure you just uncheck this option and check back it again, and make sure you select your team again. So this is an Xcode bug which will get resolved automatically. So I'll quickly select my team and run my app on iPad and show you the output. So I'm running my app on iPad. So hopefully ignore this message. This is fine. Hopefully this should get initialized. Okay, so here you can see my output, and if I click on open web, it should open the web view for us. Okay, this took a little bit of time, because we are running this in debug mode. That's why in release I think it should be much more faster. And as you can see at the very top, I have this back button which I can just click on and go back to the previous screen. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.